In part 2 of this one-part series, I argued that the proposition belief in God is more rational was not demonstrated by the video from our friends at PragerU University, my alma mater, because they seem to think that mere arguments based on logic are sufficient to show something which can only be shown by way of evidence. Instead, they simply presented these arguments, which are just not evidence. In this video, I want to talk about something I found very strange and telling about the PragerU University video. They never actually define specifically what they're arguing for. This is something I've come to notice over the years. Believers and deceivers usually speak in the abstract, offering as few specifics as possible. And this PragerU video is no exception. The arguments presented only applied to the most generic God imaginable, a baseline creator God, a deist God, a God who isn't even necessarily a who. They don't talk about their arguments in relation to the specific God of Abraham, a personal, all-loving, all-knowing, all-powerful God. But that is what they believe. Is it more rational to believe in an all-loving God who commits genocide? Is it more rational to believe in an all-loving, all-knowing God who knows which sentient beings he creates will end up being tortured for all eternity, and yet he creates them anyway?
I don't remember.
The devil is in the details, and this is what they've purposely avoided. Because however rational you think a basic creator God may or may not be, once you start adding these attributes, once you've hitched your God to this specific wagon or that, the odds of that being actually existing free fall exponentially as each attribute is open to challenge and question. Our early concept of God didn't present the God of Abraham as all-knowing. He didn't know where Adam and Eve were, that the sun was not another source of light, or that his creation would go to hell very quickly and he'd have to drown everybody. He wasn't even all-powerful. He could be defeated by chariots of iron. And he certainly didn't start out all-loving, as the baby boys of Egypt will testify. These attributes evolved as we evolved beyond the right makes might world of our moral and intellectual infancy. They evolved to make us feel better about the creature supposedly in charge of our destiny. They are not necessary at all in terms of theistic belief or in order to affirm a basic creator God. They speak only to the God of our wants and needs. But what's more problematic is that virtually all of these attributes are largely incomprehensible, which is one of the main reasons I cannot affirm belief in God or honestly find belief in God more rational. What I cannot understand, I cannot affirm. Let's wind the clock back before the creation of the universe and give you an idea of what I'm talking about. According to believers in the God of Abraham, before the Big Bang, you had only an immaterial, sentient, all-knowing, all-powerful, all-loving personal being existing in a void of timeless nothingness. What exactly does it mean to exist as a personal being in a void of timeless nothingness? As an immaterial being, what does it mean to exist at all in such an environment, or lack thereof? What does it mean to be all-knowing when there is literally nothing to know? Believers talk about God knowing the future, but there can be no future in a timeless void of nothingness. Indeed, without time, what does it mean to be? You certainly can't do anything without time. You can't even have a thought. Without time, how is God supposed to create anything when time, which didn't exist, is a prerequisite for creating, period? These concepts put the God of Abraham beyond all human comprehension. And affirming belief in something beyond our comprehension hardly seems more rational than withholding such an affirmation. Again, what I cannot understand, I cannot affirm. Of course, our believing friends have an out, don't they? The supernatural, where nothing needs to make sense to us tiny, puny, finite humans. But when you say that you believe in the supernatural and a supernatural God, what you're saying is, I believe in magic, which is definitionally less rational. Why? Because every single time we've been able to test a supernatural claim, every single time, that claim has failed. That's why the James Randi Foundation still has their $1 million. And I guess That's what bothers me most about this video. The simple fact is, if you believe in the supernatural where anything is possible, as they do there at PragerU, you don't believe in the rational at all. And yet there they are saying that belief in God is, in fact, more rational, when rational is just a scam to them, a trick, perhaps even a trick of the Dark Lord who seeks to deceive us all. However we might explain things with science and reason and demonstration, believers will always be able and willing to say, yes, but you don't understand that there is a mystical, magical fabric underlying everything which allows for the incomprehensible. Yes, those fossils, by our human accounts, appear to be billions of years old. I'll admit that, but you're not factoring in the devil's desire or ability to lead us astray. This is exactly the tack the religious use on everything from creationism to genocide. Yeah, it seems crazy and wacky to us humans, but hey, God, he works in mysterious ways. More rational? Not even close. In fact, for believers, reason isn't even in play. It doesn't even have a seat on the bench. Hell, it doesn't even get to suit up. The magical, mystical world of the supernatural, where nothing is more likely than anything else and all our knowledge is undercut by infinite possibilities, is by definition entirely unknowable and therefore definitionally less rational. It makes all of us, at the very least, agnostics, whether we know it or like it or not. Of course, they don't know that over at PragerU, where belief is substituted for knowledge and the supernatural supersedes our understanding of the rational, natural world. But there's a lot they don't know over there at PragerU. One of their mottos is, "We teach what isn't taught." I have to say, that's not a bad line. Pretty clever if you're asking me. But at some point, someone needs to tell them that sometimes what isn't taught for a reason. Should you go lie down? Go lie down or something. The video itself is nothing but one big argument from ignorance. We don't know this or that,